Oh, yes, sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. That's great.
Right. So there we have
where do you want to start, I guess, guys? So Christian, I just have some questions for you, I guess, and it's open. So because you seem to be, you have that bit of gamification or game background, or at least
Yes.
desire, interest. Can you just, can you describe a little bit more about that? And
well, the main, what can I say? Like my experience with gaming is actually gaming, like the more the consumer perspective,
right.
in the first place, because I'm consuming games in general since I was like 5 years old. Like my very first game that I ever like owned myself was called Simon the Sorcerer, which was a point and click game with very, well, today you would say questionable humor, and which was something relatively new, because I think a lot of people heard about Monkey Island, which was a game that pretty much was older than that. But I grew up as well with much older games like Zack McCracken, which was a game that my father had on his PC, and he kind of showed me that whole thing. And I grew up with games like the last, I would say, 28 years, owning each console and consuming every game and not declining any gameplay that is coming new to the field. So, and I try to see for each, let's say, gameplay or game setting, a market or an audience that is consuming that and is feeling related to it, because this is something that is kind of missing in today's game development. It is either pretty much something that is trying to make some money, or in most cases, or the other thing is that there is missing some resources, or it's not available for everyone. Especially in the blockchain and NFT communities, I kind of received that a lot, that the starting point to even start those games, to own the first NFTs, if you missed the minting process, for example, you're basically excluded from that whole process and from the games. So it shrinks the audience a lot. And with our project, we try to tackle this with the thinking we want to have people playing the games without even having to own any NFTs or blockchain, but contributing to it on the other side. So like the play to earn part should be like the main focus on those games, to give back in the end, actually. And right now I'm actually trying to develop board games with a friend of mine. We are developing a pen and paper, a new rule book to make it easier to play pen and paper games. And on mobile, we also try to make a mobile game which should actually lead you to different places and restaurants, where you can just do quests and experience an adventure in the game, but you also meet up with other people, which we try to pause a little bit, because obviously right now with the whole Corona situation, it's not that engaging that like you should meet up with other people, right? Okay. So that's actually the thing.
Yeah, it's a little dangerous to meet up with people. Sure, a lot of
yeah, well, that's the point, because we,
yeah.
Okay, I'm just popping in. Sorry to interrupt really bad. Thank you for recording. I'm going to pop back out. Somebody's recording. That's awesome.
Yeah, I did, Melanie. Okay.
Okay, all good. And then Simon, you got the link for uploading it later? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Okay. I guess so. Just I guess Simon, what's you're interested in the gamification? I guess.
So I'm actually working with a group of guys on trying to build a digital democracy system, but gamification has come up several times on the subject of how do you get people taking part in sort of reviewing other people's ideas and what would make a good democracy. And once you get to the stage, you know, like somebody's proposing a new law, how would you actually try and encourage people to come back and keep doing that? So it's like looking at reward systems or giving out tokens or giving people kudos and sort of credibility and that kind of thing. I've like just mentioned, I've been gaming probably since the ZX Spectrum was my first computer years ago. So a couple of years ago, I ran a virtual reality gaming business. I jumped in 2016, just spent the money and said, let's set it up and see what happens. So learned my fingers, got burnt on that one. Today, I'm not really in as a developer. I'm listening into what options there are in terms of gamification. There's already a few things I've jotted around, like the Pokemon Go type of thing. I'm thinking, say if somebody says there's something wrong in my street, I think I should put a proposal in. You could almost hotspot that with a Pokemon Go idea and encourage people out getting walking as well, and actually look in their local neighbourhood and go and find what it is that people are proposing there. Is that, I don't think it's a brilliant idea. It's just that sort of thing, listening in. I'm going, oh yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that I never thought of before. Cool. So interesting to hear how the conversation goes. I'll jump in when I can with some ideas, but I think I'm more of a listener than a contributor today.
But it's interesting. So sorry, David. Okay. So one thing that I'm doing with this lottery, again, it's been quite interesting. So again, it was my first kind of foray in building a blockchain, building a DApp, right? And it's really closely tied to voting and governance. And actually, I based a lot of my code on the governance code that IOHK has created. And it's really quite interesting. It's the idea of using these tokens, minting them, how using blockchain to make sure the person has something, that they actually have it. And so just from a lottery perspective, it has a lot of similarities to voting. And actually, that's where I get a lot of my code off of. So, so I agree. I'm very interested in this aspect as well, because I'm sure, well, like most people, democracies today are really, substandard, right? Not representative.
Not fit for the 21st century, basically. Exactly. The expectation is people want to take part in it and they're being excluded.
Yeah. So I think it is amazing. It's definitely a wicked problem. It's really hard to do, but once this technology can be proven, then creating a blockchain party or something like that could be feasible. Obviously, it would take a tremendous amount of time to get there, but at least you've got some foundational pieces to actually work with, right? Which is today.
Yeah, and that's what drew me into Cardano. I was literally looking at how to reward people for taking part in democracy, and then I came across Catalyst with the reward system. Then started reading. I was like, oh my god, people are already working on this. Brilliant! I don't have to reinvent the wheel. So it's now looking at how do we apply that into a sort of an abstract map of what a democracy needs to do before we start going off designing dApps on top of it. We're trying to. I don't know if you've ever seen Zero Accounting System. They're effectively running the ledgers as their core business model, and they allow third parties to come in with plugins and do like pretty invoicing or an online booking system that the payments then come and drop straight into your sales ledger and that kind of thing. So I thought what we need to try and do is architect the bits of democracy that you need to ledgerize and then let other people build the apps on top of that. So that's kind of where I'm trying to go with it. I'm not sure I've got everybody to understand that yet. I'm the sort of technology guy on the team. I've got a guy who's more in sort of the social angle, and then another guy who's more into process documentation and designing stuff. So we're slowly building up the team. We're not ready to do proposals yet, but we're talking a lot about blockchain. We said we've all agreed not everything has to be blockchain based. Some stuff doesn't suit being on blockchain, but there's a lot of stuff that it seems like the logical place for it.
Hey, David, go ahead.
Do you guys have a Discord community or anywhere that you guys congregate?
With one of the chaps has set up a Discord called Panacea. It's called. I'm trying to think where he published it, somewhere where everybody else can see it. I'll try and find. I'm on my phone at the moment. Unfortunately, it's not easy to go navigating around and staying in the call. But
I only ask. One of my main goals here is to find some good connections of people working on interesting things that might be valuable content to share with people in our physical learning center. as well, and like develop those partnerships. So if you guys have any interest in doing any sort of collaboration, share your guys' story there.
Definitely. I need to get through your courses because I've got to learn lots about blockchain. Although I've worked in IT for 30 years, it's all been started off with COBOL and flat files, worked through client server evolution and then into cloud. I haven't got up to Web3 yet though, so I'm just starting my journey last December. So,
well, we're still working on developing those courses and getting people on board that can provide some good course content. So
yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't help to post because of talking about gamification and democracy and like voting systems. There's actually the like another company, another game studio that is based in Switzerland as well, which are some friends of mine with them. They developed a game called Democracy, which is actually explaining the voting system in Switzerland pretty in a pretty easy way. How Switzerland is actually working and how the voting system in Switzerland is working. And maybe you want to have a look at that as well to get some ideas, like how can you gamificate the process of voting and how it can affect other voters or even a bonus system or not, right?
Yeah.
So like you said, like if people are voting more often, should there some sort of a bonus, or not a bonus, but more likely to show people that the person voting is actually contributing himself a lot to the cause, for example?
Yeah, I think gamifying everything is really important. Inside my organization, our goal is to be a worker-directed enterprise. So we're like sharing voting power 50-50 with the workers and the founders. We're going to have periodic general voting sessions, and we want to make it something that's really fun for our worker owners. So as well as any investors who we give investors the right to propose initiatives but not vote, because we want to keep the voting within the pool of like workers and founders. But like we want to impose some sort of system that is really fun to work with. So I'd really love to take a look at that.
There's I did come across there's somebody who worked on the core Cardano blockchain features, is putting in a request of his own into Fund 7 to do an alternative to the Catalyst voting system designed to run on the blockchain, because that's a sort of third-party old world app, isn't it, at the moment? It's I'm not sure if it's open source or not, but yeah. So it's coming up with an alternative to IdeaScale with alternative voting systems that can be tried. He's not saying, I think you should use this style of voting where it's all based on ADA. He's saying you could have a mix of ADA and other coins, or you could do it on Kudos and things like that. So I'm going to be voting for that one in Fund 7 for definite. It's one of the fundamental things you need in a democracy.
I think that'd be really on mission for Cardano too, because I know that IdeaScale does cater mostly to large corporations like Tesla and Disney and stuff like that. They usually are used for internal purposes, for like sifting through ideas and proposals. But like I think Cardano is pretty much the only group that's using it for something that's external facing.
One of the things we've been looking at is how to try and engage different groups of communities as well. So there's sort of a strategy on how to get people to take part in democracy. You can go and put adverts on social media and try and get people onto a platform, or you can go to elected representatives, or one of the options we've looked at is working with community groups. So most community groups have got a budget, they need to make decisions, and they've got more than one user, and they can be sort of evangelists for a democracy system. So it's like, I'm not sure whether gamification covers that subject there, but it's like, if you've got a small group of people, how would you reward those? That's a difficult question to answer, that one.
So guys, yes, David,
like where you work.
Hey Simon, David, so one suggestion here, again, just based on the lottery concept. Lottery is about incentivizing people to do stuff, right? And then you can have some type of pot, whatever it is, I don't know, but something. So exactly, so people are incentivized to do stuff and participate. And then obviously only a certain people actually win the pot or whatever the reward is. And so that can help, it's by using, an incentive model. It's not that you have to pay everyone something, it's just that you can pay a small amount. And so there's that drive to do stuff, whether it is to be active, participating in voting, or be involved in putting proposals, or like David was suggesting, putting courses, or whatever the involvement is. So it's not like you have to pay everyone, but there's some people might get some monetary or some other type of reward that's of interest, whether it's an NFT or whatever. So
right, I've seen this in like mutual companies when they're doing their annual distribution at the AGM, and they're always begging people to vote the directors in and things like that, and they struggle to get 10-20% of people participating. So it's not just a wider democracy issue, it's small organisations and even up to large, mutuals with millions of members.
So, and that's where an on-chain lottery, again, concept is to be, again, it makes sure that it's transparent. It's not, you don't have someone hoarding the cash. It's literally on-chain programmable. So it's predetermined. The trust factor that you need to have.
It definitely works, because I've just responded to, I think it's at DLC 360. You're doing a survey on the Cardano governance system, and they've asked for people to respond to their survey, and they're giving away 1,000 ADA to somebody at random. I thought, well, I'll have a go at that then. It's like, and you're thinking there's not going to be a lot of people responding to it. It's not like everybody in the world's going to be replying. You're probably lucky if you get 1,000 replies, I should think, to a survey on that scale.
Yeah, well, I was going to say too, it sounds like it's kind of like different tools for different jobs too. I feel like the lottery aspect might be really powerful for getting communities involved in participation. Like if you have a Discord community and you want people to be, just more involved in polls and things like that, then having a lottery and earning tickets by participation in community communications, like that might be really powerful. But then when it comes to stuff like for my thing, for example, like having people contribute to the process of developing educational content for the basic blockchain learning center area, that it seems like would probably be a more powerful motivator for having the rewards like spread out very, very socially, very evenly amongst all the people, to make sure that everyone gets their needs met and feels as though they're being rewarded for contribution.
Yeah, you're rewarded for effort rather than participation, really, then, aren't you? Because it's not just.
Wait. I have a question. I'm Dimitri from Sri Lanka. So my question is,
go ahead.
Regarding the educational course content, what will be the educational content? Because you are talking about finding course creators. So because I do content development, so I was interested to find out what sort of course content are you talking about?
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, we're doing, we have tier 1 is basically people will walk into the coffee shop and be able to go over to our blockchain learning center and just kind of walk around the room and discover the basic concepts, vocabulary, and elements of blockchain. And then we're going to show a lot of examples of like, this is what mining is and how it works. This is how staking works. This is like the Cardano ecosystem and the people in it, and tell some stories about blockchain and really just help people get that basics down and dissuade them of some of the disinformation that's out there. And that'll be self-guided. People can just enjoy their sandwich and coffee and learn at their own pace there. We're also going to be offering classes, and that kind of course content that we need to reach out to more people with specific knowledge bases and help get that content developed. We're already working with the Catalyst School and looking for a lot more. But yeah, if you contribute to the conference, you should join our Discord.
Yeah, what sort of subjects are the content going to be on?
Anything blockchain. Anything blockchain. We want to teach people about it.
But that would be primarily a developer-centric kind of course, is it?
Not necessarily. Could have investing 101. Could have the history of blockchain, more of a like this is how it all came about. Could have courses on like gamification, gaming and blockchain, and like maybe NFTs for artists or something like that. And there could be a whole array of courses outside of the specific developer stuff. We definitely want to have developer-centric courses as well. So
yeah, the reason I'm asking is because I'm not a developer. I'm a game enthusiast. So I've actually got a board games club here. So if you all go to Facebook and you type Board Games Club of Sri Lanka, you can see my board games club. So we have about 200 board games, which we rent out for people to play. So
Oh, that's awesome.
anything
What's the website?
the board, if you go to Facebook, Board
It's
Games
Board
Club.
Games Club of Sri Lanka. I can post a link. I just found it. Just actually awesome. We have a bar here in my city as well, who is trying to mix the concept of a bar and board games together, so people can meet up there and play board games while enjoy their coffee or drink.
Yeah.
So what we did was we offered this, like you said, to restaurants and pubs and so on, where they could have events whereby they booked us and they said, okay, give us 30 of the top board games, which we'll choose from the 200. And then we'll take the board games there and they'll have their place set up and their patrons will come and play games while eating and drinking and things like that. So that's that. We go to hotels where hotel places have events, and then they also can get their, like, outside people come in and either they'll pay a ticket or they will buy something to eat and drink from the hotel. That's how the hotel makes money. And then they run these board game events.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, people borrow board games and then take it and they pay a daily charge for each board game, which is about $15 a day. And then they can play it as much as they want. And they'll have a refundable deposit so that if they don't return the board game, we cover the cost of the board game. So essentially they bought it from us. So that's the general gist. My interest is, so one thing I'm very interested in talking to you further about the specific courses that you want to do, because I love writing, I love content creation. My sons and I have, my sons are 9, 11 and 12. So they are heavily into this game called Minecraft. I don't know whether you're familiar with Minecraft.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yes.
So they like
Son's an
Minecraft, they
addict.
like Roblox. Yeah.
Yes.
So they
Roblox.
like another game called Roblox.
Yeah.
And they now have found a new thing called Tradery. So Tradery is a thing where they are learning trading, and they trade pets. So it's based on a Roblox game called Pet Simulator. So they have pets with different values, whereby they exchange it, trade it, try to get other people to buy it, scam other people, get scammed by other people. So they learn all the ins and outs of trading.
Crazy. Wow.
So the youngest is 9. So he's the biggest scammer of all. So he likes to trade stuff. So I've told him to not to trade on his own, but to let the oldest one guide him. But anyway, they are busy doing that. So what I want to do in that area is I want to build some games. Because I got this board games club going because of them. So I want to build some games which they can play, and ideally they can play to earn, and then they'll be building little wallets of their own, and playing these games at the same time, because right now they spend a lot of time on Minecraft, which doesn't get them much. So maybe I'd build a Minecraft kind of game where they can play to earn in some way. So that's my interest over here, other than the course creation. So very interested to hear how to do that.
Yeah.
One of the things I'd suggest, rather than building a Minecraft type of game, you can do mods on Minecraft and integrate it with other stuff. So you could try and mix some kind of reward system in Minecraft with something stored on the blockchain. So rather than just having sort of virtual numbers in Minecraft, they actually mean something in the real world as well. Because you've got a bigger audience, and I think there's like 18 million people play Minecraft on a weekly basis now.
Yeah, it would be great if I can tie in something directly to the Minecraft world. Then all those Minecraft users can use it as well. I don't need to build a whole new game.
I don't know what that would be. I was just saying, rather than starting from scratch, that's
correct. Agreed. I agree.
And then you could help us put together a workshop on how to integrate Cardano with Minecraft.
Yeah, you've been setting a few alarm bells ringing there. Oh, I've got to play.
I'm not a, yeah, the problem is, guys, I'm not a developer. If I was a developer, I'd know exactly how to do that. I'm just an ideas guy who wants to bring the different parts together and get it done.
Don't let that stop you. That's what the Catalyst is all about. I'm the same. I'm not a blockchain developer or a GUI developer. I'm more of a back-end database guy, but I can see the potential for this and what you can do through Catalyst. I don't know if I'm preaching to the converted here, but the idea is you've got to get the team together to build your idea. That's how the Catalyst works, as I understand it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. It's all of us just kind of getting scrappy and trying to figure out how to do new stuff in this space. It seems like I'm not really a business guy, but I quit my job to go try to start all these businesses because I think that's really what the world needs right now. It's more fair, worker-oriented businesses.
Yeah, and guys, when you're coming up with ideas like that, to help build the team, because I've been kind of monitoring the whole Catalyst for last year, is exactly. So Discord is definitely a place where you can post. So there's like the different channels for Catalyst and whatnot. So you can, if you need people to help out, use Discord, and also when you do your proposal, you can say looking for certain people. So you make it. And then I think also just these joining sessions like this, and there's breakouts, this is clearly a great way to meet people that have different backgrounds and get a team pulled together.
Yeah, and I think making a Discord community for what you're trying to do, Dimitri, is also really powerful. That's kind of how I started, and now it's got more than 130 people in it, and they're all very interested, and they've been incredibly helpful. I do bi-weekly AMAs, and I get a lot of great feedback, and I've been like, the team's been growing like wild, and I think the Blockchain Learning Center thing is actually being split out into its own disco, its own DAO type operation because we have so many people interested in it. And this all happened for me over like 4 months. So if you want to run with those ideas, you can just start up a community and start networking, and it'll happen before you know it.
Yeah, Melanie has started for me a page, a separate section on Sri Lanka. So I posted a few messages there, but there wasn't much activity. So I haven't done anything for about 2 weeks since nothing was happening. I've been actually busy with I'm trying to do the proposals for a couple of projects whereby under Cardano4Climate, there is this thing called Little Fish. You all would have heard about it today. So basically, they are giving 1,000 ADA, like a mini grant, a small grant for any environmental related project. So I have pitched 2 projects. So one is where we collect waste from slaughterhouses and convert it into pet food, and the other one is we collect food that's otherwise going to be tossed from restaurants, like their leftover food, and we donate it to children's homes and stuff like that. So if gamification can be applied to any of these, let's call them social entrepreneurship projects, that's another area where in some way, either for fundraising or for getting people involved in some way, I'm open to ideas how things can be done. My biggest project, of course, is I want to generate the funds from these NFT. Okay, I didn't talk about the NFT. So I'm building an NFT collection whereby I'll have 10,000 elephants, like the Weird Whales project, but I'll have 10,000 elephants. And those elephants, the revenue from the elephants will be partly going to what is called the human-elephant conflict. So basically, that's where elephants go on the rampage in border villages, which have encroached on their lands, on their grazing lands and their forestry lands. So when the elephants lose their habitat, they destroy the villages. So then humans die and elephants die, and it's all a big waste. So the idea is generate funds, and part of the funds going to the electrified fences and warning systems and all that sort of thing to prevent this conflict. So any sort of gamification options over there, if there is a way to do something regarding NFTs and so on, the NFT collection, or anything else where basically the idea is to raise funds, I'm open because I'm very new to this whole thing. So I'm not fixated on one particular thing, but open to any and all ideas to achieve the objective. So the NFTs is just one category. So I've also got ideas for the whale conflict, like whales getting killed by ships. So what happens is Sri Lanka. Okay, you guys may not know, Sri Lanka is the second largest blue whale gathering place after Alaska, and this was discovered very recently, like within the last 10 years or something. And Alaska is one place where you see blue whales, but lately, recently they found blue whales off the coast of Sri Lanka. So considering it's much more comfortable environment here to watch blue whales than Alaska, we have heaps and heaps of people coming here to see the blue whales. So we've got blue whales, sperm whales, and a whole bunch of other whales. But the problem that these blue whales are facing is they encroach into the shipping lanes, and the shipping lanes basically kill them. So anyway, that will be another project. So any gamifications or whatever can happen there. I mean, essentially one project after the other is going to roll out. So it's going to roll out on Cardano, it will roll out on the other chains as well for people over there. And the idea being that in each of these places, there'll be an elephant collection. So anyone can buy and contribute. So
any
gamification is
like you have a lot of ideas, right? And you're struggling to start some of them.
No, the NFT is on the way. The NFT project is on the way because I've got a developer, I've got the artists, and so it's a matter of it's underway at the moment. It's the others, the other two small projects are underway as well. They're happening. The one that's the slaughter waste project is already happening. It happens once a month. So I can post some pictures. Okay, if you all go to my Facebook page it's called 5 Loaves 2 Fish. 5 Loaves 2 Fish. So that page has some information about what we are doing with restaurants, or what we want to do with restaurants. So I've been doing it with one particular restaurant from 2019. Well, actually now it's one, but earlier it was 3. So now I moved out from that, and I decided to do it on my own. So I'm bringing 57 restaurants to collect food. Well, basically collect food from the 57 restaurants and distribute it to various beneficiaries. So the idea being that rather than them toss the food, because they can't keep the food overnight, so either we freeze, like put it in freezers and give it the next day, or we deliver it that night itself. So since the restaurant closes at about 9:30, the food would have to be delivered only after 9:30 to the respective beneficiaries. So, all this is happening. The funds are going to be just to take it to another level. So how that will happen, what role the blockchain plays on this is yet to be determined.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, that's one of the things that we want to do at our coffee shop too. We're going to be a bakery, so we'll have a lot of extra bread around that we can give out. I'm already looking for nonprofits to distribute it. But
yeah, because after all, might as well give it to somebody to eat rather than throwing it, because by law you can't sell some of these things which they are over a particular number of hours old. And in any case, simply because it will spoil, you can't sell it. I mean, whether there is a law or not, you just can't sell. Like rice and curry, you can't sell. Like any sort of pastries, you can't sell because you can't freeze it, and neither can you keep it in the fridge. So you have to dispose of it. So
yes, I know that problem very well because I was working in gastronomy as well for quite some time. And we have the same problem in Switzerland, in a very, very, very rich country, actually. And we have different apps where you can actually pick up food at different restaurants for a very low price. So maybe that would be also something possible.
Yeah, no, the restaurants won't sell it at a low price. What they will say is, we are going to throw it, but if anyone, I mean, if you're willing to give us a plan of collecting it, we don't mind giving it to you for free as part of a social cause. But they won't sell it. So let's say for example, if a Catalyst gives me 10,000 ADA, for example, so part of that will go to purchasing of a dedicated vehicle, and having some dedicated staff to do this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Then it'll be where we have specialized, we'll say, containers to segregate the different kinds of food so that it doesn't get spoiled in transit.
Yeah.
And we'll also have to, actually the blockchain will be useful to create some sort of a route planning thing where immediately we drop in the beneficiary locations and the the restaurant locations, and then the AI will tell us, okay, this is the best way to go, and this is the best way to distribute. This particular location needs to get food before 7 o'clock because they're little kids, and they are going to eat by 7 o'clock, and they are going to go to bed by 8 o'clock. So you can't deliver there after 8 o'clock, etc. So all these factors need to be worked into the system so that once you have the vehicle, once you have the people, once you have the partner restaurants, once you have the beneficiaries, it runs very smoothly. So then volunteers can come on board, or paid staff can come on board and basically run the project.
Hey guys, just a time check. So I have to leave at in about 5 minutes myself. So I'm recording. I'm not sure if anyone else. So Dimitri, thanks. I think this has been very helpful. It's a great cause. The only thing I would caution is that you do need to separate like what can be done with blockchain and what it's good for versus other stuff. So like finding like routes and stuff to restaurants, like that would not be necessarily. That's better for probably Google Maps and stuff like that. Blockchain really is useful for storing information or rewarding, having people have tokens. So really try to zero in on what a blockchain, like what's it going to solve that can't really be solved today. So and so rewardings are good things, you know, exactly. Social credit, like whether restaurants can get NFTs or something like that can build their social credit, and then people can go to restaurants that participate in these programs again in a very non-biased way, right? So that's really where blockchain can help, is because it can avoid a central person being the arbiter of who are the good restaurants. It can be proven by you know their tokens that they have or whatnot. So those are the only thing I would caution, that blockchain can be really useful, but certain things it's not going to be that effective. So that's just my
understood. Public accountability.
That's why I need experts in the area to say what's the best way to utilize it for a particular project. So that will be the ideal way to go.
It's a great idea, but exactly, just gotta, and that's what we're here to help. Is help figure out what blockchain can help.
So
well, I already have few. I got a few ideas about that, how you could gamify that actually, and combine it with blockchain, especially in that case, because I'm a gamer from little age, as I said, and I see everything kind of in a gaming way as well. So and one thing that brought my attention to was this gathering food from restaurants. And what would be the gamification of that? And the best way of that would be actually, okay, if someone picks up food for the cause, they would get some coins, for example, right? And this again is actually the storing of the information that the food got actually picked up from that location at that specific time, and this is guaranteed, right? So I think this is what Lawrence was pointing out, right? This would be the moment where blockchain comes in place, and as he said, the credit for that would be actually maybe split to the restaurant itself and to the person who picks it up. And in that moment, the gamification is actually inside that company, that cause, and people who pick up the food, they pay real money maybe for the food, or they just get that with a credit they have, or that is given to them by someone else maybe. Even for those people who are in need of that food and can't afford it. So they probably can give credit to a person who gives them the food, for example. right?
It's
But
an
in a
interesting-
sort of
yeah.
social credit.
So what you effectively said, it's a way of paying for people for food that can't be paid for because you're not allowed to charge money for it. Yeah, it sort of adds that facility. The person consuming the food can like rate you on a scale of 5 is the free food any good?
I mean, the big problem there is actually in I don't know how the law is there, but here in Switzerland, for example, it's absolutely forbidden to give away food for free, even if it's free,
Wow.
and you just want to lay. Even we got people in jail because they are dumpster hopping, right? Which is crazy to me. If someone wants to do that and gets good food out of it, and it's most likely often like that. They're getting jail time for that, which is crazy to me. But
Wow.
yeah,
Here
that's the way it is, right?
Here you can give it away for free. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
So there is no law against that. I would really like to find out how to gamify this. I've put my Telegram and my
Yeah, I got
WhatsApp.
your contact
in there.
already.
So if you,
I was just
if you
thinking,
can
just
let me know, we can connect there
Lawrence.
and discuss it.
Sure, totally. I will write you a short message, Chris. Here. Maybe you should get it.
So I'm going to drop. If you guys want to stay on, you're more than welcome to.
I just wanted to ask Lawrence
Yeah.
if you have anything to ask or any questions still, or
No, I think this is great. This is again, I'm pretty heads down just trying to get my lottery working and tested on the testnet using the pad,
Yeah.
which is this Plutus application backend. So again, it's rough around the edges from a development experience perspective. So, but yeah, it's getting there.
you have another link of that? I kind
So
of.
I'll put in, yeah, so I'll put in the chat. I've got a Telegram channel. Again, there's only just a handful of people because it's basically
Yeah.
just me doing this work right now. But once funded, we'll hire an app developer and a front end guy to help start building some of
Yes.
the UI pieces. But I'll put the chat in. I'll put it in.
Still, testing environment is very valuable.
Yeah. Okay.
And regarding the course content, who was the course content? Who is the course content guy? The one who was doing the shop with the educational
The
content?
Learning Center, David Baxter.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
He already left, but well, he's around, I'm sure.
I think he
Yeah,
popped into one
I
of the
wanted
other
to-
rooms, didn't he?
I wanted to connect with him in order to find out how to get into some of that content creation. So I guess I'll check out the other room and see how that goes. Christian, I got your message. I will eagerly await your input on how to gamify these different processes as well.
Yes, sure.
I'll explain to you the idea of the two projects and any way to either, I mean, if you can tell me how gamification would help in some way, whether it be fundraising or awareness creation or participation, either way, any of these things can be done. Because the reason
Absolutely.
here in Sri Lanka, we have a lot of environmental stuff going on. For example, we have tree
Oh,
planting, we have plastic cleaning, we have beach cleanups, we have park cleanups, we have animal shelters, we have whole gamut of things
Yeah.
which people participate in. But if they could be